Wow, I found this post on Substack. I have got to share with you.
Local paper in Coldwater, Michigan, dated to the 9th of April, 1945. It tells how the U.S. Army under General Patton, the U.S. Third Army, came onto what you might call a detention center just outside the village of Ohrdruf, Germany. The U.S. Army brought the leading citizens of Ohrdruf to tour the facility, which turned out to be part of the Buchenwald network of concentration camps. A U.S. Army colonel told the German civilians who viewed the scenes without muttering a word that they were to blame. One of the Germans replied that what happened in the camp was, quote, done by a few people, and you cannot blame us all. And the American, who could have been any one of our grandfathers, said, this was done by those that the German people chose to lead them, and all are responsible. The morning after the tour, the mayor of Ohrdruf killed himself. And maybe he did not know the full extent of the outrages that were committed in his community, but he knew enough. And we don't know exactly how ICE will use this warehouse, but we know enough. I ask you to consider what the mayor of Ohrdruf might have thought before he died. Maybe he felt like a victim. He might have thought, how is this my fault? I had no jurisdiction over this site. Maybe he would have said, this site was not subject to local zoning. What could I do? But I think when he reflected on the suffering that occurred at this camp just outside of town, that those words would have sounded hollow even to him. Because in his heart, he knew, as we do, that we are all responsible for what happens in our community. And I urge the council to take action to stop or stall, or at the barest minimum, to think creatively about how to exercise oversight over this proposed ICE facility. Thank you.
Let's look at some of the comments. Somebody says, we know enough. The killings in the street of undocumented and U.S. citizen alike. The attempted murders for, quote, ramming the agents. The deaths in detention centers caused by disease, lack of medical care, lack of food, heat, water, toilets. Quote, threw himself at a wall. Quote, the grapes, the beatings, the pepper spraying, the flashbanging, the, quote, less lethal ammunition. Yes, we know enough. Somebody else says, also don't forget there are reports that ICE takes their money, phones, and anything else of value and steals it for themselves. That is what they do, just like the Schnazis. They were doing that immediately when they were over here down in Portland. That was one of the first things coming out of that. If you go up to a music festival, don't take anything that you don't want to lose, because they'll take everything. Somebody else says, I used to wonder how the people of the world went along with Hitler. I never could have, in my worst nightmare, envisioned what the USA has become. The time to have courage and show up is now. We must salvage what we can. Dr. Victoria, Public Health Doc. My 97-year-old mother says this repeatedly. She'd never imagined that she is about to celebrate 98 years on this planet. She would see the U.S. become the face of evil she and her neighbors fought against. To see us reviled is heartbreaking. As a student living in Toulouse, France, for a few weeks, I remember older men and women coming in the cafe where I helped my host family. One brought me a jacket, a bomber jacket, Bombardier, gave them to warm her after they had blanketed her small village with candy bars. She told me how they had torn thin clothes and very little food, but the good Americans gave us their jackets as we were shivering from cold. Watching this administration destroy this is beyond heartbreaking. It is enraging. Very much so with Trump. I'm not surprised. In 2016, I listened to him and started seeing the face of Hitler. His first month in office then was like Trump followed Hitler's beginning. When Biden won, I hoped we'd miss a close call. Even now, Trump failed when he did mismanage that. Here we are. Trump had been handed nearly complete control to destroy America, just as Hitler chose to do the Firminy when he realized World War II was lost. He sought revenge on his own people, whom he blamed for the loss of the war. Much of Germany was flattened. I agree. I saw this coming too. I think there are so many American citizens who didn't read Project 2025. The capitalist system, they work several jobs just to pay rent and childcare, so at the end of each day, most are too exhausted to be informed. I love what this person said. I did not vote for Trump. I recently went to the prison camp in Baldwin, Minnesota to protest. It was overwhelming and beyond sad, standing out the barbed wire fence. I felt so small and insignificant against the machine. I will continue to go to and pray and donate, but in the meantime, people are suffering horribly. I will not be complicit in this, but I feel so helpless. We each can resist on our own way. Funding support to Minnesota. Call and scream at reps. After a while, they listen. Pray. My mom collected bacon grease and shipped it for bombs during World War II. Just that you are aware and act has so much value. God bless you. Our country has lost its way.